Welcome back to the Irresistible You podcast. I am back from my summer podcasting hiatus. I took about a month off and I wanted to just give myself some space to enjoy summer, to hang out with my kids. I still have to work, but I wanted to be able to take one more thing off of my plate so that I could be a little more present. It also helps to step away sometimes and rethink what I want to talk about, where I want the direction I want the podcast to go. And so I'm back. We are back to weekly podcast episodes, and I am feeling really good about sitting here in my podcast studio talking to you and you know, whether you're watching or whether you're listening, I'm just happy that you're here with me today. I'm going to reflect a little bit on summer, going to talk about how we transition into fall, what it means to step into a new season, not just literally, but metaphorically as we start to transition into the fall time and talk a little bit about survival mode and coming into clarity with as you come out of survival mode, what that looks like. The first thing, just a quick highlight of the summer. Overall, I feel like it was a really good summer. I did a lot of things with the family and the kids and we are fully into back to school season. It is wild. I'm exhausted this past weekend. Last week was their first full week back to school, and I was exhausted by the time the weekend came because Catalina's in third grade. Javi just started pre-K. So he went from 2 days to now a full-time 5 days, rest of his life. That's in full swing. But over the summer, we did, like we always do, a lot of pool days at home, a lot of barbecuing outside. We did a lot of crabbing, which y'all know I love me some crabs. And I have to say this too. If you follow me on social media, either on TikTok or Instagram, I'm never fully gone. I am always on TikTok and Instagram. So even when there's a podcast hiatus, if you follow me and I'm at Irresistible Icing on either of those platforms, if you follow me on those platforms, I'm never actually gone. I'm just not podcasting. We did a lot of those things. We went to a couple different museums. We went blackberry picking. We went blueberry picking. I have a whole list. So this is something I started. I want to say it was like last year, the year before, but I keep a list in my Google Keep and I write down everything that we do over the summer, no matter how insignificant that it seems, right? Like we had a board game night at home and I wrote that down. What was the thing here? Hang on. It's like something so minute. Just like little things that we do. We started the summer on the last day of school. We went to see Lilo and Stitch on opening day. That was so much fun. And like I said, we did a couple different museums. We got to go to medieval times. We did a day trip up to Maryland for that. We one day bought this glitter popsicle chalk for the outside. And I wrote that down. That was an activity, and they still talk about that. So one of the reasons I do this, number one, oh, let me tell you something else real quick. This other thing that we started over the summer. So my kids play Roblox. I started playing Roblox a few years ago when Catalina got into it because I wanted to know, what is this? I heard some negative things. When I got in there, I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. And so we started playing with the kids and we have a ritual where like the four of us, Frank, I, Javi, and Kat, we all play together. And over the summer, we got addicted to grow a garden. So here I am playing this virtually tending to my garden, growing all this crap. And every Saturday they have this big event where they release there's like a new event and they do all this like stuff an hour before it drops. And over the summer, literally every Saturday morning, the four of us, or sometimes just the three of us if Frank is at work, like he even will like sometimes do it from work and we're like all playing together and doing this event. And it is insane. Like it's just so funny. And then I'm scrolling TikTok the other day and I realized there's this whole community of families that are doing the same thing. And like all of these 40 something, 30 something year old parents who started playing with their kids and now we're just all out here 40 somethings like tending to our virtual gardens because our kids are over it. They're over 99 Nights of the Forest game and they're done with the grow a garden stuff. So it's just so funny. And it sounds funny and it is, but when I think about it, the bonding and like the experience and the memories that we actually have over the summer, like I have to tell you, One weekend, the kids and I, while Frank was working, we went up to this little cow town in Virginia for this wizard weekend, right? It's like a Harry Potter theme weekend. And we have to leave early. This event happens at 9 in the morning on Saturdays. And so I'm driving, I'm giving, because they only release like certain seats. So stupid when I talk about it. They only release like they release like more seeds and like special mutations and things on Saturday morning. So Kat has her tablet, Javi's already playing, and I have her take my tablet because I'm like, can you get me can you get me the elder strawberry? Can you get me the beanstalk? Can you get me like having her buy me the watering can and the godly sprinklers and then whatever the hell they have on the grow a garden. And so I'm literally like driving through the tunnel and she's over I'm like yelling at her like get me this one, get me that one. And so I mean just the memories of that is pretty cool honestly when you think about it and it's like a family bonding thing that we all have. And my kids think it's like hilarious that I will watch YouTube videos on how to do things and grow a garden. Anyways, so what I was saying is I started this thing a while ago where I just make a note in my phone and I write down everything that we do. I also write what we want to do, like our bucket list, right? And one of the reasons I do this is I don't remember. Like I don't remember what I wore yesterday. I don't remember what I did yesterday. But also when you ask kids, "Hey, how was your summer? Hey, what did you do over the summer?" It was good. I'm sorry, it was good, like, that's the best we can do here, or they will you'll ask them and we did this at the end of the summer, like, "Hey, what was your favorite thing we did this summer?" Kids will always say what they most recently did because it's top of mind, right? And I'm like, "Hey, let's remember some of the things that we did," and I start going through the list, and I'm telling you, even they were like, "Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. That was so fun." And, like, trying to, like, make them remember what we did as well, and they're not just like, "Oh, yeah, we just sat at home and played Grow a Garden, like, all summer," which no, that is not all we did. Anyway, so I find that to be a really cool thing. I will do the same thing for fall because you guys know, y'all that know, this is my time to shine. I love the fall. It is my favorite. I'm a Halloween nut. My both of my all of my family, my husband and both of my children are all born in October. I was married in October on Halloween Eve. We have Halloween coming. We have so many fun things coming and I don't want to miss out. So I will make a list again for fall so we can go do all the corny corn maze. I did not mean to say that. Like that was no pun intended. All the corny corn mazes, all the pumpkin shit, all of it. Like we're going to do it all. So we have that little list. So I am back. Summer is, this the summer break is behind us. We are still like feeling the heat. Obviously, we're having a little bit of cooler weather here in Virginia, but it's too cold really to even get in the pool at this point. You can do it, but it's a little harsh when you first get in. So we're definitely in that like transitioning. Like even today I was like, "You know what? I probably could have had like a small sweater on this morning. It would have been comfortable with that." So kids are back to school. It's a fresh season. It's that natural reset. We are into the final stretch of the year. We have 4 months to go and it is not the time to just throw things out the window. I'm going to do another episode probably around that whole mindset, but what I wanted to really talk about as we transition into fall in this episode is talking again about survival mode and thriving mode because I have lived in both of those worlds multiple times. And I think that's just part of being a human. It's part of life. Like you're going to have times where you're in survival mode, you're going to have times when you're in thriving mode. This past year, like I would say about a year or so, has really been another season of survival mode in a sense. Things were just really difficult and from like a finance perspective with my work and things like that. And as we got into summer, probably, things started to improve. Like let me just say this, things have been improving since the winter of this year, but like incremental, like very small, right? Very small. And then the summer came and there was just some amazing blessings and news that has really things that I have been praying about for a very long time. You know how when things just start to really fall in place and just hit the knees with gratitude that, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Like, this is what we prayed for. This is finally coming into, focus for us. And so some really amazing things happened. And I feel like I can truly breathe again in that sense, and that I can start to move back into Amy's thriving mode and not just that survival mode. But I don't want to talk so much about that. What I want to talk about is what it feels like to come out of that survival. When you are in survival mode, you have tunnel vision, right? And survival mode can be so many different things. It can be because you're going through a financial hardship. It could be because you're going through, a transition in your career. It can be something going wrong with your kids. It can be it can be so many different things. And, I was definitely in full survival mode after Kat's type 1 diabetes diagnosis for a while, because that was a major life change, a major life transition. And when you're in survival mode, regardless of the reason why, you have tunnel vision. You have blurry tunnel vision. You're just trying to get through the day. You're just trying to get through that hump that you're like, there's that thing in the future where, like, if you just get to this date, then things are going to even out, or you just get to this timeline. Like, everybody has like that timeline, right, of when they think things are going to get better. And so in order to get there, your tunnel vision is on. And what I mean by that is that you can't see the other things, and maybe you see them in your peripheral. Like, let's be very clear. And when I talk about other things, I'm talking about your weight loss. I'm talking about taking better care of yourself. I'm talking about making the doctor's appointments. I'm talking about, getting the car in for maintenance, getting tires put on the car, getting the house pressure washed, getting the house deep cleaned. You see these things in your peripheral, that's such a hard word, your peripheral vision, right? You can see it off to the side, but you have such tunnel vision because you're just trying to get through the thing that you're going through. And it's like, yeah, 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 I know the house needs to be pressure washed, but I could better spend that $300 on groceries or registration fees for school or whatever, fill in the blank, right? And you're thinking, yeah, I really do need to eat better. But right now, the only thing that's bringing me comfort is eating this caramel egg after work. Fill in your example, right? Like, just giving you some broad examples here, and you can fill in the blanks as you see fit. But that is survival mode. You are in tunnel vision. You know there's things that need your attention, but you can't always do it. And I remember that with Kat's diagnosis, Frank and I both had to quit working for a month. We both had to take leave because at that time in our life, it was taking the two of us to manage her diabetes. Like, having to give your kid 10 injections a day when they're 4 years old, not the easiest thing to do. So it was a lot of bribery, a lot of coaxing, a lot of the two of us having to hold her down and like her scream. And we had a baby. Javi was 8 or 9 months, 8 to 9 months old at that time. And that was a really dark, hard time in our life. And so when that was happening, you know, the regular bills are coming in, obviously, but, like, the tunnel toll that comes in and you're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'll pay that later. Yeah, 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 I'll pay that later." I don't have time to even, like, open that right now or think about that because I am, and that was literal survival mode. I am literally trying to keep my child alive by learning how to dose this insulin regimen, right? And then as things started to get easier, we fall into a routine. It starts to become our new normal. I'm like, oh my God, the tunnel bill. Oh my God, the toll. Because the papers just start coming in and the receipts, and you just start stacking things up because you don't care because you're just trying to survive. And then this $25 toll or $15 toll has now become $100 because you just forgot about it because you were just trying to survive. And that's what I mean here is like you saw it at the corner of your eye. You knew that it was there. You saw the things piling up, but you just got to get through today. And then you just got to get through tomorrow. Sometimes you're in parts of your life where you're living minute by minute. And that's okay. It's normal. It happens to all of us at some point. And it's also things with the house. The house needs a good deep cleaning. Girl, them baseboards are looking like shit. Okay, they look like shit and you see it. You sit down to use the bathroom and you see them baseboards and you're like, all I can get out of me today is to Clorox wipe down this counter and this mirror. And maybe you can't even get to that, but it exists. You see it at the corner of your eye and you kind of tuck it away for later. And that's just not something that can be a priority for you right now. And survival mode also it can be so many scenarios. It can also be a season where you're going to school and you're working full time and you only have an hour at home every day. I have been in that season too. So it's not always, life or death. It's not always, financial. It's not always these crazy things. It can also just be you're strapped for time. And as things start to lift, as the weight comes up, not the physical weight, but as that like, that emotional weight of what you're going through starts to lift and you have more time and you have more resources and you have more mental capacity to take something on, you sit there on the toilet and you're like, "Oh, oh, these baseboards are disgusting. Like I need to get up in here and clean." Right? Or you notice, damn, like the house needs some pressure washing, right? Like, oh, the house needs a deep clean, or oh my God, my car needs to be detailed. Like, you knew the shit was getting dirty, but it wasn't a priority because it's at the corner of your eye. I ain't got time for that right now. I don't have time for that. I just have to keep focused ahead of me and get to this thing. Let me also say this: survival mode isn't always negative. Like, think about planning a wedding. Think about being pregnant, right? Those can also be times and going to college like and working full time. Like these can be very positive things, but they still bring stress. They still strap you for your time. And it's like maybe you're planning for a big thing, a big family reunion, a big family whatever. You're a little bit in that survival mode in the sense of having the tunnel vision because you're just trying to get the things done that need to get done to get to the finish line. So, when you come out of it, it feels like to me, my experience with this has been, remember The Wizard of Oz, where it's all in black and white, and then she lands, she lands after and lands in Oz, and like everything comes into color. That's how it feels for me. It's like the world just came into focus. You can see what you've been ignoring, the cleaning, the priorities, the appointments. Like I just went to the eye doctor last week. Kat went, 'cause her and I wear glasses, I wear contacts. Her and I went to the eye doctor and this is such an easy thing to do. It's such an easy task to, and even for our eye doctor, they schedule online. You go online and pick your appointment, right? And it's done. Such an easy thing to do. We have like the premium vision insurance. So it's not like it's this big out of pocket expense either. And I feel like a bad mom. Like I missed, now I don't know why I'm crying about this. Like I missed her appointment last year and she needed to increase her prescription and her glasses. And I knew it. And I feel awful because I went a whole year without taking her. And there was literally no excuse for that other than it would go on my list, make the appointment, make the appointment, make the appointment, and then it wouldn't happen for whatever reason. And I feel like that goes back to that survival mode a little bit where, I know this is a priority. I know this needs to happen, but there are things coming in like taking priority over that. So We both went and did our eye doctor appointments last week. My prescription went up like a quarter, but they can't do anything about that if you wear contacts because contacts, apparently, I learned, do not come in quarter sizes. So she said, "Well, yeah, I know you're seeing a little bit more blurry, but you're going to just have to deal with it." Okay. Cats did go up a little bit, so it wasn't that bad. But we got her new pair of glasses so she can see better now. But that is just and I share that that's a very, like, scary thing for me to share out loud with you all because I don't want anyone to judge me, like, being a bad mom about it, but it's things like that. It's the appointments, the maintenance on your car, your tires, your oil changes, it's those things that we know we need to do, but when we have all these other competing things that are feeling very important and very much like they're taking over, or we're not, maybe you're not able to do certain things, right? Because you're just trying to get to the next, payday or whatever, the world comes into focus and now you start to see everything you were ignoring, right? I went and got my real ID the other day at the DMV. That was something I've known for a while I needed to do, but I'm like, I don't want to sit at the DMV. I don't have time to go in the afternoon. And there was a point where I wouldn't have been able to go in the afternoon because of Frank's work schedule. I would have had to drag the kids with me and like it's a whole thing. These little things that we've been ignoring that we know we have to do, whether it's cleaning, whether it's maintenance appointments on you, your car, your home, whatever it looks like, it starts to come into focus because now it's not that it didn't matter to you. It's that now you have the mental capacity, the mental margin to fit these things into your day. Okay. And I want to just remind you, if you're feeling bad about your weight, that when you're surviving, weight and body image just aren't front and center for you. Like they're just not, and that's okay. There are tools and things that you can do to make sure that you don't gain weight in these times. And a lot of that is involved in if you have the tools and resources in my Irresistible You course and private podcast, we go through that and you have those strategies. And I feel like I've been able to really incorporate those strategies in my own life as well, so that when I am going through hard times, I'm also not gaining weight on top of the hard time because that is never fun for anyone. But I want you to hear and be validated that if you're going through a hard time and you're going through survival mode and you have gained weight, it's just because you didn't have the strategies and the tools to know how to do something differently, how to cope differently. I've gone through survival mode a few times in the past, I don't know how many years, and I've gotten to a place where I don't gain weight anymore when I'm in survival mode because I have those tools and strategies and resources that I didn't have back in the day because I didn't know any other way to cope with things. My way to cope with things was to just eat. And I don't do that anymore, right? And so, yes, there are times when you're in survival mode that weight is not your priority, and that's okay. But if you have the tools and the resources, I promise you, you can get through a hard time and not gain weight and possibly even lose weight. That is something. So coming into thriving mode feels really good. It feels like a weight has been lifted. It feels like I'm back to myself again. It feels like I can plan things for the future again. It feels like I can just I feel so optimistic and so hopeful right now, and that leads me to the next thing, which I did an episode on this. I believe it was episode 266. It was actually the last episode that I recorded, so you can go back and listen to that. When you go into thriving mode, it can also feel scary because if you've been operating in survival mode for so long, when you go into thriving mode, it feels extremely vulnerable. It feels scary because you're so used to everything going wrong. You're so used to waiting for the other shoe to drop. Choosing joy and that choosing, because choosing joy is a choice. And it can be a very scary choice, but it is a very necessary choice. Joy is our most vulnerable emotion because we feel that if we allow ourselves to be happy, if we allow ourselves to feel joy, it's going to be taken away from us. We also have a misconception that we're not allowed to feel joy. We're not allowed to feel happy if we're not at our goal weight. We've told ourselves that you must be miserable. You must be unhappy. You must not be proud of yourself unless you weigh a certain number. And I am here to tell you that you have to break that cycle. We are not going to sit here and wait for the weight to be in thriving mode. We can be thriving all day long. And here's the thing, once you get into thriving mode and you have the tools and resources to keep the emotional weight at bay, the weight's going to come off because you're not going to be using food. You're not going to be using self hatred as a way to self sabotage anymore. Because that's what we do, right? We constantly get a clearing, things start to clear out. We start to be able to breathe again. And what do? We sabotage ourselves because we don't allow ourselves to feel joy. We don't allow ourselves to feel the success that we've been given. We don't allow ourselves to feel like you earn, like, say there's something in your life, like you've got a promotion or a new job or whatever it is, and you don't allow yourself to feel the success. You don't allow yourself to feel proud because you don't think you deserve it because of the way you look. And if you don't fix that, it doesn't matter if you get to your goal weight because you'll get to your goal weight and you still won't allow yourself to feel proud. You still won't allow yourself to take compliments because you'll think, but I'm so flabby now. But I have so much loose skin. But I need to get loose skin surgery. But I have wrinkles now that you can see where you couldn't see them before. So if you don't fix that at your highest weight, it's not going to go away at your lowest weight. It's going to be amplified, is what it's going to be. So as we shift into fall, this is an opportunity for you to change within yourself as well. Okay. I saw this beautiful quote and it says, when you are reluctant to change, think of the beauty of autumn. Think about autumn and fall for a minute. It is one of the most beautiful, picturesque times of the entire year. It is just, look how many paintings there are and murals and just poems and stories that are built around the fall season because it's so beautiful. Everything about it is so beautiful. But if you really, go down a layer and you scientifically think about what's happening, everything's dying. Like everything, the trees are literally dying, and that's why they look so beautiful because they're changing colors. And they have to die and fall off so they can regenerate and come back the following season in spring. So I want you to think about that. When you're reluctant to change, think of the beauty of fall. Like change can be such a beautiful thing if you allow it to be. We could sit there and say, oh my God, fall is so gross. It's getting cold. The leaves are turning brown. They're crunchy and crusty and they're dying. You could also describe it that way if you're that kind of person, right? You can choose to see the beauty in it, like the different colorscapes and the weather and just all the things that come with it. And as we transition into fall, I want you to think about it as a metaphor. The leaves are letting go. What are you going to let go of? The seasons are shifting. The weather is clearly shifting, especially if you're up north. Like you're probably already in like true fall weather right now. As the season shifts, what are you willing to shift around in your life? And everything is changing, and there's so much beauty in that change. And I want you to ask yourself, what would it look like if I allowed myself to shift? What would it look like for me? Another couple of reflection questions that you can take away from today is look at your life, take an inventory, and ask, in what areas am I still in survival mode? It might be your weight. It might just be you're in survival mode with your weight. You might be in survival mode with your work, your finances, your school, your kids, whatever. And then what is one small thing I can do to bring life back into focus? So even if you can't fully get out of that thing that you need to survive, your survival moding from, What is one thing maybe you could change or add or do that will bring life back into focus for you? And what joy am I willing to let in without waiting for the wait? Because that's the whole key to this. We can't wait for the wait to be joyful. We can't wait for things to be perfect because, quite frankly, things are never going to be perfect, right? Like, there's always going to be something that's going on. So, I want you, as we change seasons, I want you to let fall inspire your own personal reset of seasons. And I don't mean through a diet, I don't mean through a quick fix, but through the choice of choosing to be present, choosing to be clear and have clarity, and choosing joy. And finding like life is hard enough as it is. It's just it's suffering is part of the human existence, it's part of the human experience. It is what it is. But where can you find pockets of joy? If it is looking at the leaves on your drive home, if it is picking up a pumpkin spice latte, if it is, I think of I love to do seasonal joy, right? Seasonal things that you're not going to experience in any other time of the year. That's why I make my seasonal bucket list so that I can really like lean into, okay, what can we do in the fall that we cannot do any other time of the year? So let the season inspire your own personal reset. What goals do you want to accomplish between now and the end of the year? And you guys know I'm going to come back and I'm going to do that visioning exercise with you that I do every single year about New Year's Eve. Who do you want to be on New Year's Eve when you're looking through the mirror? Do you want to still be standing there with the same resolution, the same goal, the same, oh my God, I got to lose weight. I can't believe I gained it back and all this mess? Or do you want to look in the mirror and feel so proud and so good? You can't feel good and proud and joyful about yourself on New Year's Eve if you don't do the work in advance to achieve the goals that are going to help you feel that way. And I think we might cover that next week. We're going to talk about how to get through the rest of the year and how to really live it up and get to our goals. Change does not have to be scary. It doesn't have to be, sweeping. It can just be, and it can be very beautiful. And I will be back next week for another episode. I am excited. If you're on social media, I've already shared this and I've been posting stories here and there, but we are taking our annual trip to so we're taking an annual trip to attend the Touched by Type 1 Diabetes Conference for my daughter who's 8. And it just so happens that conference takes place in Orlando, Florida, which is perfect for us because we love to go to Disney World. So it is an excuse to throw in 2 days at Disney. So we're going for a long weekend. And usually it's just Catalina and I. We do a girls trip, and a couple reasons for that. One, it's cool because it's like mommy daughter trip, which we love to do that. Number 2, in the past, we did not have care for Chewy if we were all 4 to be gone, and I did not feel comfortable leaving him at a doggy daycare, doggy boarding place, just with his age, and I knew he wouldn't react well to that with anxieties and such. So, Chewy is no longer with us, and so we don't have to, worry or coordinate what that would look like. And 3, it was easy to do this because Javi was a baby. He was, he's now 4. So the last couple trips, her and I have, this will be our 4th year. But the last 3 trips, he was an infant, toddler, didn't really know what was going on. He's about to turn 5. He clearly knows what's going on. And Frank was like, I got to take off the same amount of time, whether I'm sitting at home with Javi or whether I go with you guys. And so we talked about it, and the 4 of us are going to go together. We have not all been to Disney together since 2021. So I'm actually really excited about it. I'm excited to spend time with my whole family. I'm excited for Javi to see the castle, to see Disney, because, it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to visit. And I know he doesn't remember. He was 1 last time. And I'm really looking forward to Frank attending the diabetes conference and being able to be in that world a little bit where it's just been Catalina and I at the conference, and, he can interact with other parents and, hear Dexcoms and pods going off. I was not intending to be emotional today, and I'm emotional saying that because the first time I walked into Touched by Type 1, and we're sitting in the big, huge, like, banquet hall while they're doing the keynote speech in the morning. And I'm there with my daughter. She's 5 years old at the time. And it's the first time, that she is in a room full of children living with type 1 diabetes and hearing other people's CGMs going off, their glucose monitors, their insulin pumps, and it's not ours beeping, it's someone else's and someone else's and someone else's. And the look on her face of like, I don't have to explain to anyone what that noise is. I don't have to explain to anyone what that thing is on my arm or my leg. Like, it just is such a beautiful moment. It's such a validating moment. And it's why we need to have representation. It's why we need to see ourselves and other people. I only experienced that on a smaller scale as a kid, being an overweight child and not seeing other overweight, role models and curvy actors and people in the media and things like that. So to live with a chronic disease like type 1, I know what it's like as a mom, but I will never know what it's like to be the person who lives with it. So for her to be in a position where she's being exposed to things like that, there's so many people she can follow online and watch and learn from is beautiful. And the type 1 diabetes Barbie, like that's all we got that. And while I'm talking about it, I'm just going to show you real quick because it's sitting in front of me. This is the book that she wrote, Rosie Sparklefin, the mermaid who found her sparkle with type 1 diabetes. This is her story. She wrote the story. I just helped her put it into a book and illustrate it. And it's her way to creatively share her diagnosis with type 1 in a way to like mentally process that. And that came out of her brain. So anyway, I'm excited for Frank to be able to experience that as well, and to interact with some other parents as well and see that. And Catalina has a diabestie that they met last year. They have been in touch almost every single day since the conference, and so that'll be so good for them to see each other. And then we get a couple nights in Disney. And I, a few months ago, did not believe this trip would happen. I was hopeful about it. I was optimistic about it. I was like, the universe has always got our back. Somehow it's going to all work itself out. Things are going to happen and fall in place. And at the very last minute, like less than a month before the conference, things started to happen. And so I'm very happy. I'm very excited. But I will still be here next week to give you guys an episode of the podcast because we're not leaving till later in the week. So anyway, I will catch you then. I want to just give you a couple reminders before we head out. I want you to make sure that if you're not subscribed to the podcast or the YouTube channel, please make sure that you subscribe. The second thing is to stay in touch. Please make sure that you get on my email list. And if you get on my email list, I will give you a free action plan when you sign up. All of those links are down in the description in the show notes. And then let's stay connected. If you love Disney, you're going to want to follow me on Instagram because girl, next week, I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm going to be spamming you with all the stories from Disney and the conference as well. So I am at Irresistible Icing on Instagram and TikTok. And on TikTok, I've been sharing a lot of my diamond painting journey as well. So you can head on over there. All right. I got work to do. I got things to get done. I know you do too. Let's get to it. Let's have an amazing week. I will talk to you in the next episode. Until then, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.